to ask themselves these three questions before they make any crucial decisions.
But if you don't make decisions, you're going to stay right where you are.
We are all map makers.
We are in a time of transition.
If we're going to change, we have to change the direction that we're going.
Our planet needs leaders who know where they want to go.
When we change the direction we're going, then we want to make sure we're going in the right direction.
Leaders who can see the big picture.
Because if we're not, we're going to either go backwards or we're going to stay where we are.
Recognizing the psychological and the spiritual shifts and changes that need to be made, often from the inside to the outside.
To be able to shape your future, you have to be willing and able to change your paradigm.
Complex journeys require navigation. The path to the truth is one such journey. This is your GPS. Hairstyling services provided by J.D. Edwards Salon and Spa, Palmdale Shopping Plaza, Madera Street. Accessories provided by Chevette Williamson Jewelry. Standout jewelry for standout women. Welcome to GPS Global Paradigm Shift on Global 99.5 FM. I am your host, Michelle Malcolm. As always, it's a pleasure to be in your company today. So before we dive into the show, we got to deal with the elephant in the room. How many of y'all watched that Miss World pageant last night? Listen, I can't even begin to explain to you the shock of that top 12. OMG. It was truly shocking to see how many of the strong contenders in that competition did not make that top 12, including our very own Sienna Evans, obviously. But Venezuela, for instance, she was a heavy favorite to win it all. I mean, a couple, at least about three. South Africa was another big favorite. There were at least about 3 to 5 heavy favorites who everybody had in their top list who did not advance to the top 12. Now, clearly speaking, we in the Miss Promise organization were, like everybody else in the room, in complete shock when Sienna didn't advance to the top 12. But like I told her last night, we are exceedingly proud of her because she did such an incredible job representing the Bahamas. I think she is perhaps one of the strongest delegates we've ever sent to that competition. I mean, complete package, the look, the personality, the intelligence, the accomplishments. She had it all. And I just want to say publicly to her and to the entire team, the entire village that helped to get her ready, good job, guys. I think we have nothing to hold our heads down for because Sienna Evans did her thing. She represented us extremely well. So that being said, you know, in my mind, I was going to be doing a show today interviewing our new Miss World. That was what was going to happen today in my mind. But clearly, after she did not advance to the top 12, I had to make some quick adjustments. And so I decided to do a show today to talk about culture, the Bahamian culture. Is our culture on life support? And if so, what is it going to take to revive it? Now, somebody called the show a couple of days ago and asked the question, what is culture? And his point was well taken in that you could ask 10 different people that, and they would get 10 different answers. And he was arguing that we have no sense of national identity. We have lost our sense of pride as Bahamians because we don't know what our culture is anymore. And so I have invited some folks in here today who are deeply entrenched in the whole movement of culture in the Bahamas. They can't help themselves because way back to their grandparents, they were very much parents and grandparents. They were very much involved in the culture or the entertainment aspect of our culture. So before we dive into the conversation, I'm going to play our first clip, which is what is culture? And this is going to help us to understand a little bit more about what culture really is. So Jason, I need you to go to that clip, please. What is culture?
When I ask people in Hamilton, what is culture? I get a lot of different answers. But what is it really? What is its value? And why does it matter? So, where to start? I live in this city. It has roads, clean water, electricity, police stations, hospitals, schools, but every city has these. What makes Hamilton different? Well, this could be where culture comes in. Let's see. Festivals and events, a thriving art scene, stories and customs, a sense of history, cool architecture, creative talent, public art, and even outdoor places like parks, farms, and waterfalls. These are all considered to be part of culture. All of these things create activity and buzz, a positive energy known as cultural vibrancy. And this vibrancy helps to build community, define neighborhoods, and make the place we live in have a unique identity. It also leads to attachment. People that are attached to Hamilton want to live here. They get involved, and they talk about it. As the word spreads, people come, and businesses too. This attracts more people and then more businesses. Creative talent is drawn to Hamilton and is already 1/3 of the labor force and growing. I guess you could say that culture is all the things that make life in a place meaningful and interesting. It's valuable because it can promote identity, creativity, tourism, jobs, and growth. And it matters because it contributes to quality of life, creating attraction and attachment, revitalizing neighborhoods, transforming cities, and making communities attractive, open, welcoming, and vibrant. So, if we take away culture, then what do we have left? Get culture. Love your city.
If we take away culture, what do we have left? This is a question that we here in the Bahamas need to ask ourselves, because we can get all sorts of opinions about what we need to do to improve the economy and to reach our young people and, to improve life in the Bahamas. And perhaps we are missing the point of culture. Like it was said in that clip, if you take away culture, what do you have left? So could it be that the culture of the Bahamas is on life support because we've taken it away? We don't identify as Bahamians anymore. And when I say that, everybody will say, yeah, I'm a Bahamian, but what does that mean? And is it because of that disintegration of that national identity that we are seeing all these problems that we're seeing? At least, is that a part of the problem? Could it be that the answer to many of our woes is woven in our culture or lack thereof? Well, today we're going to be talking to first at the mic is Mitzie Chipman. And if you don't know that last name, Chipman, and can relate that to culture, then you must be living under a rock, because the Chipmans are known since the days of John Chippy Chipman and what was your mother's name? Becky? Rebecca Chipman. Listen, iconic symbols of culture and entertainment in this country. And Fontella has been on this show a couple of times. Fontella is the grandchild of Rebecca and Chippy Chipman. And she and her family are starting a new business that is centered around culture that's been advertising here on GPS all of this week. But I could think of no one better to be a part of this conversation than two people who are so deeply ingrained in culture, had no choice because they were born into it. And so, Mitzie, you are here. Let's get you in on the conversation. How are you today?
I am just fine.
Now, I can tell you something. I a little upset with Mitzie because she has clearly found the fountain of youth and decided not to share it with the rest of us. Okay? Coming here looking like a little young thing. A little bitty. Good to see you, man.
It's a pleasure. Always a pleasure seeing you, Michelle.
Now, have we lost our culture in the Bahamas?
When the lady was speaking, you're talking about culture. In the 50s, 60s, 70s, and even 80s, you didn't have to ask about culture. You saw it, you felt it. And that was in every Bahamian had culture in them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we have lost it even with the young children today. When you see a young child, a young person working and they give you that extra, the extra smile, they go their way. You appreciate them so much
Mm-hmm.
because that's what it used to be in the 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s.
Yes.
Now today, you go into, just say you go into a restaurant, the attitude is not there. They give you, like they're just serving you.
Mm-hmm.
We have missed so much when it comes to our culture, you know? So,
Well, back in the day, we used to have manners and respect. You walk into a room and you say good afternoon, good morning, good evening. Two people standing in a place and you walking past them, you say, excuse me, good afternoon. You do that now, they say, oh, you're old people journey. Nobody's do that no more. That,
Yeah.
like they look at you strange, like, well, what you dealing with? You know what I mean?
yes,
But this is what helped us to identify. This is what helped to make us who we are.
that's right.
And something as simple as that, it seems, has over the years just gone away,
vanished.
just vanished. Could it be, and we've been joined now by Fontella Chipman Rolle, could it be that a part of our problem is that we, in our efforts to be so inclusive, have lost our sense of identity because we have embraced with such open arms so many other culture from other nations?
You know, like I'll still go back into the old days.
Yeah.
Those days when a tourist just used to come here. They came every year just for that culture, just for that welcome, just for that pleasantness. You know, we have lost that. You know, when you're saying coming to culture, you know, Michelle, our family, like you said, is embedded with this culture, you know, and every day we want to see culture.
Mm-hmm.
So it get to a point where you get disappointed because nobody else wants it but you and some other Bahamian families. So we get to the point now where we have to make it for ourselves because we cannot depend on government. We cannot depend on nobody to make culture come alive again. If you don't do it, it will really, really die.
Yeah. Now you can pull the microphone to you, Fontella. Y'all got to share that mic.
Hello, Michelle. Hi. El Bahamas. Running in late, but I'm here giving God thanks, of course, as usual, just to be in the
We can hear you good.
space
You ain't got to go no further. We can hear you.
with my friend Michelle and the great people of this country, talking about a really, really great subject that is so really deep in our hearts in the Chipman family,
Mm-hmm.
but by and large to every Bahamian here today. So I'm grateful to God for this opportunity. As always, I'm giving him thanks and praise that everything that is expressed is received with the right intent to make us greater, a better people. So Michelle, you made that statement just now in terms of us wanting to be inclusive,
Mhm.
that we have lost that culture.
Right.
I don't even think I agree with that, because in inclusiveness, we want to bring everyone in to be a part of what it is, right?
Okay.
But here we are in our inclusiveness. It's not about being a part. It's almost as if we have lost ourselves.
Right.
So I don't call that inclusiveness.
I get you.
You know what I mean?
Mhm.
This is the depth of what we're dealing with when it comes to the culture
Yes.
of who we are as a people in this country. We have lost ourselves.
Right.
So now we say, okay, how do we find who we are? How do we find what it was? Because we knew what it was back in the day, like
Yes,
Mitzie said. We
absolutely.
knew that, just like you mentioned.
Right.
So we know that it's there. And so here we are now. A whole generation now has been disconnected from who we were.
Mm-hmm.
So we're here fighting to find ourselves again, because we've totally lost it. So we've just jumped on to everyone else's bandwagon. You know, we don't want to even listen. Like my daughter said, her friend said, "Oh, I hate that music." I said, "What music was playing?" She said, "That Bahamian music."
Oh, wow.
I'm like, "What? Are you serious?"
Wow.
And the word hate. Is it that we have not, impressed our young people enough with who we are
Yeah.
that they love being Bahamian?
Well, here's the thing, if you don't pass the knowledge on from generation to generation, it is lost. When I was growing up, there were people like my grandmother and one of her dear friends, the late Miss Rosalie. What was Miss Rosalie's last name? Miss Rosalie Bow. And they were the storytellers.
Yes.
So yes, we didn't have all of the, the digits, the not digits, the devices and the gadgets and to distract us. So, we had television, but oftentimes for entertainment, we would sit around and listen to these old time stories, and they were very entertaining. So we learned a lot about the Bookie and the Barabi, and the good thing is they all had a story of morality, a life lesson in there. Okay.
Right, yeah.
But if you didn't pass that on, okay, so my grandmother is gone, Miss Rosalie is gone. I know Patty Glinton Macolis, who is my cousin. She attempted to record my grandmother and Miss Rosalie so she could have that record to put in a book or something.
Yes,
But once they were gone, apart from that effort, those stories died with them.
Yeah.
You go to a young person today and you say, yo, who's Bookie and Barabi? You'll be like, but who? They don't know.
Right there.
I'm being told our young people don't even know what it is to eat peas and rice.
They don't know what it is to eat dilly.
Because we live in such a fast-paced society. You ain't got no time to cook no food, so you stop and you grab some fast food on the way, and that's all these children know. And like you say, some of them don't even know the native fruits.
No.
So how much of a responsibility does the older generation need to take now for failing to be the bridge between the elders like our grandparents, the elders like our grandparents, and these young ones today? Because somewhere we dropped the ball. Into the mic.
100%.
Into the mic.
100%. It's our fault. We have to take the responsibility. Come on.
Yeah, because
We have to be.
Fonzie, we talking about. So you come around this way, and then when you're ready to talk, you just lean in. Because Fonzie, you ain't gonna have to put the prompt on. Go ahead.
We have to take responsibility. That's 100% our fault.
Right.
We know that our grandparents, my grandparent, she did her job and taught my parents. My parents taught us. Now that disconnect, it's our fault. Whether we did not find the time, whether we didn't think it's important because we have to move with the times, whatever it is, we have to take responsibility. And my family right now, even the Chipmans, in terms of our cultural entertainment,
Right.
we're losing that. Totally gone.
Wow.
Where can you go in this country and get a culture
Listen,
show?
back in the day, you used to have your King Eric and his Knights Club,
Talk
and
about
you
it.
had Peanuts Taylor Club, and there were places you could go to see a Bahamian show.
And listen, different. Everyone different,
Yes.
showing that uniqueness,
Yes.
that specialness about what it is they are interpreting about our culture and their entertainment and their gift. A young man was in my office today and he said, boy, you remember, he's older than I am. He said, I remember when I used to get up at 1:00 in the morning, leave my job and go someplace else to party to see another show.
Right.
That's just how things were
Yeah.
back in the day.
Yeah.
So when we have, we decided that we have to push this thing. My family is 4 generations strong in what we do, Michelle. 4 generations. I don't know of much families around here that still does that.
Mhm.
And I'm still trying to teach it to my daughter and whoever else would like to learn.
Right.
But we have the responsibility to carry it on. We say government, we say they're to blame. No, it's not.
Mhm.
Each one of us have to be responsible. My aunt, who we do fire dance. It's our responsibility to teach that to the next generation, or it will be lost. It's our culture. It's our entertainment. When I say culture, it's how we eat, what we say, what we do, what we interpret as who we are. We have to pass that on. I think I was here with you before, and I tell you, I stopped talking proper now because we're losing the dialect. No, this is serious. This is how deep this is for me. You understand me? I mean, people know you laugh, but I am serious. We're losing our dialect, right? Everybody now, we don't even talk Bahamian because we talk in Jamaican. Things change. We don't even know our own language anymore. See, that goes deep. We have to understand that that is who we are as a people. When I say, man, that's my things, and man, that's our language. We have to embrace that and know who we are as a people. Now, when we need to go and be in certain, arenas where we need to speak the way we need to speak, then that's more than welcome. But we have to understand that. Don't look down on me because I say things and that and this. No, that's who we are.
Right.
So that's a part of the culture. Now, to believe that culture now is worth fighting for and to hold on, it's up to you. It's up to my Aunt Mitzie. It's up to me. It's each one of us passing that down to our children. How sometimes we hear someone say something, you say, why are you talking like that? And I'm the first one to say to my daughter, I send you to school for all this, I paid all this money, and this how you talking?
Yeah, my mother did the same thing to me. She,
And now we know what my daughter says. Mommy, I'm talking Bahamian. And that's what made me really catch myself one day and say, boy, you know what? And that's a special thing. That's a special thing.
Yeah.
But we have to all take responsibility and figure out how we're going to keep this alive. We're not Jamaicans. We're not nobody else. We are who we are, and that's Bahamian. What is missing is the love. Like I told you, that young girl said that about our songs. The love about loving who we are. How do we transfer that now to this younger generation? What is our role in making sure that this is passed on?
This is a tough one because we have that gap that has that gaping gap that has been left there because we didn't pass the information on. Now you're talking about trying to reach an entire generation who really don't know what it is, what the types of experiences that we had growing up that help to define who we are as people. And culture is a fluid thing.
Yeah.
So I don't want to give the impression here that it something new can't be introduced into who you are as a people. But it cannot be to the degree where you completely lose the core values of what made you unique.
Yes. Yes.
And unfortunately, we have lost it. It's like, who are we? And a lot, it's like the clip said at the beginning of the show, a lot of what makes your life quality enjoyable ties right back into a strong culture. That is
DNA.
It affects your business. It affects your way of life. It affects everything around us.
Yes.
So could it be? And I'm really, really very excited to see that this administration is trying to do something by establishing a cultural commission.
That was interesting. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I'm really hopeful.
Yes.
After sitting in the first meeting, and seeing how serious, Carolyn Vogt Evans, who is the chair of that commission, seems to be about this.
Carolyn is
Go closer to the mic. Yeah, exactly. I thought she was a great choice to be a commissioner. Yeah.
Is an entertainer.
Yes.
By heart, but lawyer just by choice. But I know you have your heart into entertainment, and that's the only way you're going to get it going. You have to have someone who is involved in entertainment at the table.
Yes.
Because it will never happen if someone is not there who
understands,
is an entertainer, or who will understand what entertainment is all about.
Exactly. And I was really excited about that. Listen, Carolyn and I went to high school together. And as a high school student, she was always into dance and performance. That was her thing.
Yeah.
And went on to form her own dance company. And, listen, she and I worked together back in the day when I was at ZNS, airing the Miss Bahamas pageant. She was the director of the show, the choreographer and director of the show. And so we worked together, in that creative space.
Yes.
And so I was very excited to see when I heard that, they were forming this cultural commission. My first reaction was, oh Lord, here we go again, another committee.
Yes.
Here we go again. But when I heard who was involved, I said, oh, wait a minute now. We might be onto something here. And as I walked into that room in the first meeting, I said, okay, these people serious, because they had people in there who, like you say, are in it. Who coming from a place of, listen, this is my life. This is what I do.
Yeah.
And I think this is why I have some hope, because I think a part of our problem is that we have people sitting up in offices making decisions for sectors that they have no knowledge of.
No knowledge. Yeah.
and I ain't talking to nobody in the sector.
Yes.
Just, okay, I think it's a good idea, so this is what I can put down.
Yeah.
And then you got to live by my decision.
Yeah.
Whereas I like this approach because it seems to be more inclusive, where Carolyn called me and she's like, Michelle, we're doing this cultural commission thing. And she told me, she said, at first we weren't even considering pageantry. And then I was told, no, you have to consider
That's right,
pageantry.
all of it.
And then Chantel O'Brien did well in Miss Universe. And she's like, okay, yeah. And so she called me and
Yeah.
she's like, would you be willing to work with us?
Mhm.
And I appreciated that
Yes.
because, it's so easy for people to forget the contributions that have been made. I know I ain't got to talk to y'all about that no
Yes,
more because
yes.
y'all family lived that, eh?
Right,
Let's talk about
exactly.
that. Let's talk about it. Go
Like
closer
you-
to the
like-
mic.
Like you said, Michelle, I heard about the formation of the committee,
Mhm.
and I was hopeful, just like you said. The only thing that I am concerned about
Mhm.
is, you see, we can form our committees, but we have to understand that it is so much bigger than that, right?
Come closer
we
to the
have
mic.
to be
Right.
able to, within our committees, understand that there is so much more contribution externally. Reach out to those others who has that input, who has that knowledge.
Yeah.
It's not going to always be within that committee.
Right.
What is so awesome is that Carolyn knows and lived this,
Yes.
and she knows what to fight for, right?
Mhm.
That is awesome. People like yourselves who have lived the pageant life and what it's about, and the hard work it takes.
Mhm.
But we have to know that do not let our politics or anything divides us or keep us from reaching out now and extending ourselves to others we know
Right.
has that knowledge and education to take this to another level.
Right. Right.
That's what I don't like, because we have our committees everywhere. They
Mm-hmm.
form committees. We have no progress, nothing. Because why? Because of the politics and the foolishness, we divide ourselves.
Yes.
And it's so much bigger than us. We have to understand that what we're fighting for is the survival of our culture, the
Absolutely.
survival of this country
Mhm.
at large. And there are so many people out there have that story to tell, or what they can do and what they did and how they did it. Let's reach out and make this inclusive of what it is to be Bahamian, and have everyone come to that table through this committee.
Absolutely.
Through this committee, because now it takes that. It takes us reaching out to every individual in entertainment and pageantry,
Yeah.
in every aspect of what it is to be Bahamian.
Yeah.
And let us just understand that there are many, many, many more out there who has a contribution that they can offer.
Absolutely.
Let's grab it and run with it.
Absolutely. I agree with you 1,000%. And I really believe that that's the direction that they're heading in.
Awesome. Awesome.
And I'm excited because,
Mhm.
and you raise a very good point, and I hope that everyone listening to this show, I don't care what your political affiliation
That's
may
right.
be, a big part of the problem in this country is that we throw the baby out with the bathwater
Mhm.
when we come in because
Mhm.
it wasn't my idea.
That's right.
And it's I got to throw it out because it had your name on it, and it ain't my idea. So you repackage what we were already working
That's
on,
right.
sometimes a watered down version,
Mhm.
just so your name could be on it, and all that time wasted
Time
and nothing
wasted.
getting done.
And we're starting again every 5 years.
You understand?
Money, wasted
Lunacy,
time.
lunacy.
That's it.
So
That's it.
maybe, I'm not sure how it is set up, but maybe it should be where this commission, and it may be already, and I just don't know,
Yeah.
is an autonomous body
Yes.
or
Yeah.
quasi
Yes.
government, where where you can't allow, where politics has no room and no
Yes.
place to
No
impact
place.
the work
No
of what
place.
they're doing.
Exactly. Exactly.
Otherwise, waste of time
Waste of time and money.
and energy.
Something we do not have a lot of. Yep, that's it. That's it, Michelle.
All right.
That's important. What Bahamians have to understand that. So if we look back over the years, and when I go back as a child in my grandparents' home, man, let me tell you, Michelle, the entertainers that used to pass through there, the greats, the Larimores, Mitzie could tell you, I didn't even know who they were until I was a good age. You say,
Right.
oh my God, I mean, they passed through my,
Mhm,
they
mhm.
used to sleep there and they used to lay in my grandmother's bed. And these were great entertainers, great people who laid everything on the line because their love for this country and their art, their craft. And so when I look back and think of how they used to be in my grandparents' house, it used to be a community, it used to be a family. When one entertainer hurting, my aunt, no, they come around there to Becky and John and they can eat, they can feed each other. That's what we have lost in our culture as a community, whether it's in entertainment, whether it's through our corners, whether it's on our government jobs, wherever it is, we have lost that sense of community, that part of that culture which takes care of one another, right?
Yeah.
Which provided for each other, even though, where has that gone? That's what we want now. Come back to that community, that culture of love and knowing that together we can move on. I remember my grandfather, when he was out on the dock, you see him, when Count Bernardino didn't have a job, he told, come on, Count, let's go, because he got to make sure he, come on, this one, let's go. Anyone he was willing to carry. I see my Aunt Mitzie do it to this day. They show up at the door, come on, let's go.
Yeah.
She got to do it and make sure that they're taken care of. And she's pushing to try and make sure there's a venue, there's an avenue for these entertainers to perform, do what they love, and promote this great country. So each one of us have that gift inside of us to make this country great. And through the commission, that's one part of it. And through the new prime minister, hopefully with his new ideas to create this commission and to see and have the vision to do this, is to bring this country back to where we were. Culturally, as a people within ourselves, we got to start there.
Yeah. All right. We got to take a quick break. Let's take this commercial break. And then on the other side, we're going to continue the conversation with Mitzie Chipman and Fontella Chipman Rolle. We're talking Bahamian culture. Is it on life support? And if so, how do we revive it? That's the topic of discussion today. And I'm still in shock from last night, y'all. I want y'all to know I salty bad.
Oh my gosh.
We can talk more about that on the other side of the break. Stay with us. This is GPS.
The islands of the Bahamas. Fly away.
Every journey starts with the first step, and mine starts here. I believed in Tokyo, the belief that I could be, we could be the best. We are drenched in Bahamian pride, no matter where we go. In 5 years, Alive built the Bahamas' best network, delivering faster speeds and stronger connections to all 700 islands and keys. I am proud to be Director of Speed and Connection. Never stop dreaming and never stop believing.
Welcome to Sunshine Auto, the hardest place on the planet for a rim, fence, and tires.
We are your auto superstore for rims, Lexani, Azaras, Trueform, Western, Lux, Fuel, Tracklight, Tough, Rough Racing, Velocity, Mud, All-Terrain, and low-profile tires, cars, homes, and commercial window tinting. At Sunshine Auto, we put God first and customer is king.
Blessed love.
Welcome to Chippy's Cultural Experience. Coming soon, Chippy's Cultural Entertainment, building on a Bahamian legacy. Welcome to Boston Square. Come experience our islands. Come experience our history. Come and experience our culture. Experience what it is to be truly Bahamian. You're invited. Yeah, man.
You wanna do?
And we are back. Welcome back to GPS Global Paradigm Shift on Global 99.5 FM. I forget to take that commercial out, y'all. So I can be vexed every time I see that. So just just bear with me, please. Yeah, that pageant last night. Listen, like, I was telling Fontella a second ago, right? And we can bring her into the picture right now as soon as she get her camera sorted. And Jason, you need to adjust the main camera, please. I was like, really, no, adjust it so that, okay, include us both then. Include us both. So I was really confident that Sienna was going to advance. I just knew she would. And as they started announcing the top 12, I'm like, okay, she's next. Okay, we got the next one. And the first 6 going to commercial break. I said, okay, we in the second half. And the next 6 start calling, and they get to the 3. And I look in the back, then I see who's still standing in the back there. And only 3 spots left. Only 2. So I say, hold on now. Because truth be told, a lot of really strong contenders were left standing there. And when I saw all of them in the back there and only 2 spots left, that's when I got nervous. And I'm like, oh my God, this is not going to happen again. Because you still had some really hips. You had your Venezuela, your South Africa. You had, I mean, some of those girls who everybody had as a contender to win. So when I see only 2 spots left and about 4 of them in the back there, including Sienna, I say, mother sick. And then the hurtful part was the last 2 still ain't gone to none of the contenders.
Oh, goodness. Wow.
That's what had everybody so shocked last night. Not that our girls didn't make it, but who did make it? At the expense of so many of the strong contenders. That is what was so shocking. And if you watch a pageant last night, you heard the audience booing at some points. So yeah. Anyhow, let me focus. Because
Yeah, so with the pageant world, it was really
because you compete in the universe.
I know, and we hate to admit it, but let me tell you, these things are very political, also. And sometimes
money talks.
It and it's sad, but it's true. And for us even to make it in Miss Universe, the top 10, I'm telling you, it blew my mind.
Yeah,
I was really blown away with that.
Yeah.
So even that made me hopeful, and I was strong with Sienna also, hoping that they really recognize at the Bahamas we sent quality young women there.
do.
I mean, quality without a doubt.
Yeah.
And yet we can't seem to place ourselves there. It's bigger than we think. It goes deeper than what we usually see on the surface. But every year we go and we make an awesome presentation.
And this girl was the complete package.
Let me tell you.
She was a complete package.
Complete.
Is the complete package.
Complete.
There's not. I said to her last night after the pageant, I said, Sienna, I want you to know there is nothing more you could have done.
Exactly.
You did your job. You understood the assignment. You represented this country exceptionally well. There's nothing more that we could have asked of you.
No.
And I am very proud of you.
Yes.
For the job that you did representing this country. And she needed to know, she needed to
She
hear
needed
that.
to hear
just
that.
in case
Yeah,
she
they
didn't
do.
know.
That's right.
Because
That's right.
like you say, sometimes it's just beyond anything you can do. It's just beyond you.
It's beyond us.
So
you go out there,
I
you
don't
do
know,
your
boy.
best.
If Sienna Evans can't make the cut, doesn't even make sense to send anybody. But that's another story.
But guess what? That's another story.
Yeah.
And like everything else, even in relation to our
topic.
Our topic today, we just do not do, right? We just do not go. We continue because we believe in it. Just like sending a well-qualified representative to these pageants, we do not stop. We continue.
Talking to the microphone,
right?
Child, you need to say that because. But now it's covering your face, so adjust it a bit. There you go.
All right. So instead of saying we can't because, right, we continue to persevere and we continue to press on because we know who we are.
You trying to tell me that's part of my culture?
That's a part of your culture. So we cannot stop. We cannot just totally disregard this part of us, of who we are as a people, resilience, and take that away from our young ladies. That is an opportunity that they will still look forward to, still thrive to be Miss World. And so how do we take that from them, knowing or saying that it's bigger than them? No, we continue to push on, we continue to strive, we continue to persevere in the pageantry, in our culture, in who we are as a people. We continue to persevere.
I think I better watch this recording a couple of times right now.
I know, right?
Right now, I feel like telling them, you know what? Be finished.
I know.
I'm done. But anyway,
Yeah.
that's another show. That's another show.
Yeah.
All right, so let's get back to this topic we're discussing today. Is the Bahamian culture on life support? And if so, what in the world do we do to revive it? Because quite frankly, it seems so far gone. You have to question, can we turn this thing around? Is it even possible to turn this around? And you know, we old enough to remember how it used to be. Y'all youngins, y'all don't know. Back in the day, you couldn't have a hotel property in this country and talk about you ain't high and no Bahamian entertainment. Oh, no. You had to meet a quota of Bahamian entertainers performing in your facility. Otherwise, you ain't getting no license to open your facility.
That's right.
You had a thriving, like what was mentioned earlier, a thriving nightlife, night scene where you could go and you can enjoy a good Bahamian club. You had clubs like Cat and the Fiddle, even over the hill, where the A-listers in the United States found themselves in, because they knew that little club,
a little hub right there
on Nassau Street. That's where it was, right? On Nassau Street. Cat and Fiddle was on Nassau Street.
That's right.
That little club on Nassau Street was a place where they needed to be. I talking A-list celebrities.
Yes.
What happened? How did we stand by and allow that to be so disintegrated that now we look down on any facility or any body or any group that says we want to promote Bahamian culture? You know how discouraging that can be for those for the creatives of this country.
Well, Michelle, my family lived it. You know,
I can imagine.
I never even knew the depth of it until really being an adult and being an entertainer, and not only just an entertainer, a woman dancer. Huh? That itself was a separation, because you were a woman dancer, because those women dancers are women of the night, and we were talked about and of course disgraced. And so I really reflect on my grandmother. She was a dancer who made her living, dancing and doing the fire dance in this festive nightlife. And we were, and I include myself on that, and still is today, we are talked about, we were disgraced. And so we knew what it was to fight through something. We knew that to do our art and do our craft was something special. And we had to find it within ourselves to rise above whatever was happening. My grandmother, along with Maureen Devalier and other ladies, were the first to bring women to Junkanoo on Bay Street. I mean, the first women to be on Bay Street. We look at the choreographed dancers now, and it was because of their shoulders that they're standing on.
Right.
And these are the sacrifices that our people have made, and yet go back to speaking with our children. They do not know of these people who made this contribution. Never heard of them. We don't do anything to promote them and keep their names out there. We don't do any of that. But yet we see these things happening. And it goes back right now to the storytelling, to tell that story of how that happened and how we've come to be. We have lost that. We don't find that important. That's not in our history books. I tell someone, who would remember my grandfather, my grandmother, if I don't continue to push? Nobody. Chippy will not be remembered. My grandmother will not be remembered if I don't continue to push and tell their stories.
How do we incorporate this into the schools? Is that something that we need to incorporate into our curriculum?
I remembered 5 years ago, I started A Reason to Rush. And Michelle, I'm telling you, it still is tough. Thank God to some persons who sponsored the event. And I was sitting down one day, Michelle, and I was thinking, God, what can we do to keep entertainers alive? Those ones who have gone before, promote this country, did everything they can. And I said, a reason to rush. What is a Bahamian reason to rush? We don't need a reason. We just want to rush, man. We want to celebrate, man. We want to be who we are. So I came up with A Reason to Rush, and my family just put on a culture show on the Chipman estate on West Bay Street. We did fire dance, limbo dance, we did gombe, we did junkanoo. And it was so amazing. People stood by and said they never saw a fire dance before. Can you imagine? You never saw a fire dance?
Well, let me tell you, in 2019, we were hit by Dorian, and the Miss World organization allowed the reigning queen at the time, Vanessa Ponce de Leon from Mexico, to come to the Bahamas to help Naya, our queen, with her Beauty with a Purpose project to raise money for victims of Dorian. And as a part of the events that we showed Vanessa, we took her to Educulture, which is Arlene Nash Ferguson's place,
right?
Where you go to learn about junkanoo. And it's like a junkanoo museum, and an immersive experience. And she was just blown away by what she saw in there. And then the visit ended with a little rush out, you know what I mean, in the back room. And I sent the Miss World organization a video of that little rush out.
Right.
And they put that on their website, and it went viral. And everybody's like, oh my God, this is to us, that's just,
special, man.
But people would, eating that thing up.
This thing is special.
We don't realize what we have.
We don't realize our uniqueness in who we are as a people.
And it's not just about the culture, it's like, when I say not the culture, it's not just about performing arts.
That's right.
Not just about junkanoo. As we were watching the pageant last night, I watched it by Jerome Sawyer's house. And when the Ministry of Tourism domestic commercial came on, and you saw these scenes from the Bahamas.
Yes.
You saw the pineapple lady in there. You saw somebody making the conch salad. You saw somebody, And I said to Jerome, as they were doing the drone shots of the beautiful waters of the Bahamas, and I said, we would have less social ills if more Bahamians traveled through the Bahamas to see their own country.
It's interesting.
Because the beauty of this country, it's
mind-boggling.
If we just saw what we have,
yes,
I think a big part of the problem is too many people jump in this little Nassau, and that's all they know.
But you know what, Michelle? Even if you go to another island, I don't think you really grasp the magnitude of it. It just like you said, it wasn't until I was in a plane just flying over these islands that made me realize, but I'm going to be honest, the first thing I said, okay, God, look at, this is it. This is what the politicians is fighting over. I'm going to tell you, honestly, that was my first thought.
Right.
I've never seen nothing like the waters of Exuma. My husband took me
the most
there.
beautiful spot in the world.
My God,
Staniel Key is the most beautiful spot in the world.
My husband took me there for the first time. It blew my mind.
Oh my God. And I've traveled all over the world. I had an opportunity with both being a journalist and pageantry to travel all over. I have never seen anything as beautiful as the waters of Staniel Key.
Oh, Michelle, I just sat there in awe just as we flew over. I said, God, look at this. Look at what you have given us. This is what the politicians are fighting for. This is what the big stink, as I refer to it, is all about. God, if we could only know what it is that we have, that we can look at it from an eagle's eye view and see what God has blessed us with, then maybe the fight within us will demand.
But you don't even have to go as high in the plane. I remember the first time it hit me. I think I was at Saturday at the time, a reporter, and went to Exuma to cover something, maybe a regatta. I don't remember what it was there for, but anyway, Karen Van Wallace is from No, not Karen. Oh, what's her name? Dames. I forget her first name, but anyway, the Dames are from Exuma.
Okay.
And at the time, Karen was married to her brother, and he decided to take us sailing one day. Some of his friends from the United States, they used to buy sailboats, refurbish them, and then turn around and sell them for huge money, right? And I'm talking the sailboats with the big sails and everything, right? And so they took us sailing one day through the waters of Exuma, and I was on that boat, and I was like, "Oh my God, I have never seen anything so beautiful." This was my first time as a Bahamian experiencing this. And I said to Jerome last night, I said, you know, if more of our people could see what we really have, they would take more pride in it. They would guard it more. They would care more for the reputation of this country, because we have been blessed with this gem. But when you don't know what it is you have, you will throw a diamond away for one of them little play ring which you get, or the bubblegum machine, if you don't know that diamond is a diamond.
It's valuable. Yeah.
Because the thing in the gumball machine look a little shiny, you go for that. And that's the problem that we are experiencing. I don't think our people know what we have.
Michelle, maybe because we're so busy running after everything else.
Wow.
That's not ours.
Wow.
Huh? That's maybe because we're so consumed with everything else that's not ours, that we don't even want to see what it is we have. I mean, I remember our forefathers, my grandparents and stuff, especially when I tell someone I wish I'd gone to Andres and Abaco with my grandmother every time. She used to pack up for every year, and she'd go to her father's home and she'd go to her mother's home for 3 months each out of the year. And I wish, as an older person, as a mother, I wish I had gone down there and spent the time, because when I did go as an adult, man, what I saw and experienced, just the humility and the love and the kindness of the Bahamian people, I'm telling you. This have nothing to do with the sand, the sea. It's our genuineness towards each other. And even that's
gone.
And
if that ain't gone, it on life support for sure.
Life support for sure.
Yeah.
What you experience.
That has been replaced with, you celebrated if you could cuss somebody out and talk to them bad on social media, and the more
all we want to do is defame each other.
Yes.
And that's all we want to do. And that gets the most likes.
Oh man. What video is going viral right now? What video is going viral? Girls kicking up on each other.
That's it.
Fights.
That's it.
You know, who are we? How did we get to this place?
Who are we? And as I look at our young people today, there's no connection, man. Are we even connected to our own kids? Some of them don't know who we are. That never used to be, eh?
Wow.
One time ago, I looked at, it was so funny that I looked at a yard the other day. I mean, the garbage all over the place. Michelle, Saturday mornings, you had to get up. The yard had to be clean.
Oh, no, you can't walk in that yard.
You can't even sleep in the morning.
No, sir.
That had to be clean first. Then you take your little bath, you put on your little clothes, and then you go buy your cup and your ice cream. This is what our parents taught us. But what is it now we're saying? No, don't let the children, my child don't have to clean that. I got my Haitian for that. And I've been blunt. We don't teach them these lessons no more. And as we pull back and think that our children don't need to do this because we have made it now.
There you go.
We have made it now. And those scenes, lessons that built us to who we are, we have forgotten them now. We don't want to transfer them to our kids.
No. Our parents were too harsh.
Oh, yeah, too harsh. Now we pull back, we give our kids whatever they want.
No responsibility. They ain't got to wait for nothing.
Responsibility, no nothing. And then they come back to us when we're in our old age and we call them disrespectful.
Yeah, like they just born like that.
Just born like that. What responsibility do you have coming back to culture now?
How they get that way? It's how to call for the show, Jason. Caller, welcome to GPS.
Good afternoon.
Hi.
Hi.
Yes. Sorry, Michelle.
No, go ahead.
Thought that Our girl didn't win.
Listen,
But she won already when she, in my humble opinion, knew in her heart she was qualified to go to sign up to be what she is today from day one. I don't care where it started. So she was a winner from back then.
Just because she didn't win that pageant doesn't mean she's not a winner. She's definitely
Exactly.
a winner. Yeah.
Okay, culture, the arts, and other manifestations of human intellectual achievement regarded collectively. Good afternoon, young ladies in studio with Michelle.
Good afternoon.
Y'all are a blessing. Your family is a blessing.
Thank you so
Every
much. God bless you.
Bahamian knows that.
Thank you.
Second thing I want to say, Michelle, the ideas, customs, and social behavior of a particular people or society, for example, Afro-Caribbean culture. I want to look at it from the Bahamian perspective. We always said, if you leave Nassau and you go to Auckland, Crooked Island, or Long Key, or Maguana, or Inagua, any island, the Bahamian dialect changes.
Yes.
And I, Fontella, agree with you.
Yes.
But I just, as relates to using our Bahamian dialect more. In America, the black people, I forget what the black Americans call their dialect now. And the way they talk. Bionic beat, I forget. It'll come back another time, Michelle. But either which way, they live in America and they showed the most powerful nation of the world. We will exist with this. Listen to the rap music. Now, what am I saying? The leaders of our country is responsible for the life or death of a country. The leader is responsible. No one else.
I don't know if I
Now,
agree with that.
the people, hold on, Michelle.
Go ahead.
The people, when we realize that our culture is being, or we are having a culture shock. We don't even know what our culture is, much less they give us a culture shock to go with that. You ain't teach us properly our culture, and then you put 500 different cultures in 121 miles by 7. What do you expect to happen? Who you think gonna be the victorious ones in that matter?
But we putting all the blame for that at the feet of the leader? What about?
No. The people now then must know when to say to the leader, not the leaders, the leader, the prime minister. This is our culture, and we, for example, when you hear the number 666, we think about some demonic number. But Michelle and ladies, the truth of the matter is, when you read Psalm 66, verse 6, you will see where our culture comes from. See, I don't want no one. If we're gonna be children of God, and every way we think today is based on that foundation, I don't need no other culture shock. Secondly, there was a time when the educated worked for the gifted and talented. Now, today in 2022, it's in reverse. It's our duty to say to the leader where we come from and where you have brought us is not lining up with where the original intent for this nation, which is founded on spiritual principles. Go against the spiritual principles, and see, that's why I don't like to call, because I get, I don't make so much sense when I hot. And either which way, our culture is very important to the world. The world want to know us, and we don't even want to know ourselves. We're killing one another, we hate one another, and we expecting a beautiful, godly result out of the same darkness we voted for in the last 49 years. That is insane. Either we're going to stand on godly principles or we are doomed. Any nation who go against the principle of God, I don't care for whatever educated new world thinking you have, you go against that Bible that were around for at least 1,000, much less two, just one. I didn't need it to be around for one. What human being we know in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, or in Ukraine, or in Russia, or in America, or Great Britain, that was around for 1,000 years? The Spirit of the living God will show up and destroy, break down, mash down any culture if you try to establish anything that is not lining up with Almighty Yahweh Elohim S-U-N, Son. The melanin and pigmentation is not a mistake. This nation is not a mistake. 1492 to 2022 is not a mistake. The leaders must comprehend what culture is, especially our spiritual culture. Every other culture comes, that's the roots of all cultures. The spiritual black melanin culture. Good day.
That's a few shows.
Yeah. Amos, okay. I don't even know how to respond to that, Amos, because so much you say in there. Anyway, music break. Let's go to this commercial break. When we come back, we're going to be talking more with Fontella and Chipman Rolle about is Bahamian culture on life support? And if so, my God, call the CPR. We need to revive this thing. We'll be back after these words from our sponsors. Stay.
Executive Printers is your one-stop shop for all your branding and customization needs. Letterheads, envelopes, business cards, invoices, share and gift certificates, rubber stamps, vouchers, funeral programs, brochures, flyers, banners, and promotional items like mugs, water bottles, mouse pads, and key rings, all with personable service and great quality. No project is too small or too large. For great turnaround and competitive pricing, make an executive decision. Call us at 393-5011.
The islands of the Bahamas. Fly away.
Welcome to Sunshine Auto, the hardest place on the planet for rims, paints, and tires.
We are your auto superstore for rims, Lexani, Azaras, Trueform, Western, Lux, Fuel, Track Life, Tough, Rough Racing, Velocity, Mud, All-Terrain, and low-profile tires, cars, homes, and commercial window tinting. At Sunshine Auto, we put God first and customer is king.
Blessed love.
Understanding your microbiome, also known as your gut ecosystem, can change everything you thought you knew about nutrition, digestion, immunity, and metabolism. Keeping your gut ecosystem healthy and balanced is essential. Ultimate Microbiome by Longevity was specifically formulated to optimize this ecosystem. It provides the advanced support your gut needs through prebiotic, probiotic, and postbiotic supplementation. Our unique blend of probiotics includes Lactobacillus and Plantarum, healthy bacteria that can help prevent harmful bacteria from taking over your gut. Increasing your gut's population of beneficial bacteria creates a more balanced gut microbiome, which has been shown to aid in weight loss, skin health, sleep, mood, and may even help with seasonal allergies. Ultimate Microbiome also promotes the production of postbiotics. Postbiotics are key to help regulate your gastrointestinal health. To enhance digestion, Digizyme Multi-Enzyme Complex, a blend of 5 specific enzymes, has been added to Ultimate Microbiome. It can help break down food so your body can better absorb nutrients. Plus, we've added our proprietary I-26 Hyperimmune Egg Powder to aid in the elimination of disease-causing gut bacteria and help your body balance its immune response. Ultimate Microbiome,
the scientific, proprietary, and holistic approach to gut health that helps optimize your body's entire gut ecosystem. To learn more, contact your longevity associate.
Welcome back to GPS, Global Paradigm Shift on Global 99.5 FM. Michelle Malcolm in your company, along with Fontella, Chipman, Rolle. We're talking about preserving our culture. Is our culture on life support? And if so, call the CPR. What do we do to revive it? The telephone numbers to call if you want to get in on the conversation. 326-0271. 326-0271. 326-0271 or 326-0272. 326-0272. And our WhatsApp number, 824-9952. 824-9952. Yeah. So before we dive back into the conversation, I want to go to another clip because a lot of people don't understand that when it comes to culture, there are really 7 aspects to culture. And I thought that this clip that I'm about to play did a pretty good job of breaking it down for us.
What is culture? According to Geert Hofstede, culture is the collective programming of the human mind that distinguishes the members of one group from those of another. It is a system of collectively held values, basically the glue that holds society together. Sociologists have defined 7 aspects of culture that are universal. The first is social organization, the way a culture organizes its members into smaller groups. Each of the smaller groups actually has its own set of rules. These groups can include families, friends, religious groups, social classes, jobs, and even interest groups. Family patterns include nuclear families of parents and children, or extended families including grandparents, aunts, uncles, cousins, etc. Social classes are the way we rank people by order of status. Ranking may be based on money, occupation, education, ethnicity, and other factors. Interest groups could include things like emos or even subgroups of teen moms. Next is language. Language is the core of all culture. Every culture has a spoken language, even if they never developed a form of writing. When people share language, they share a very clear and specific set of symbols and meanings that makes communication possible. When you identify with more than one culture, frequently you speak more than one language. When we are talking about language, we are not necessarily talking about a formal speech pattern like Spanish and English. We can also be talking about informal language, such as that occurs within subcultures like Spanish and English mixes, and text-speak. Customs and traditions, or the rules of behavior, both written and unwritten, are also important elements of culture. These include laws and social norms, or the behavioral expectations of a group. They inform the difference between right and wrong. Some subgroups can even have very different behavioral expectations. For example, the culture of school has a much different set of expectations than the culture of most family groups. These behavioral norms extend to other aspects of culture. How do you celebrate holidays? What kind of music does your family listen to? Is there anything else that your group does that is different or special from what other groups do? These are customs and traditions. Art and literature also make up an important element of culture. This is a creative outpouring of a culture. It is the way in which they express themselves, often as a means of handing down information from one generation to the next, or as a way to celebrate within the culture. The arts and literature teaches about the cultural values and promotes pride within the culture. These can include art, music, literature, and folk tales. Religion is an important aspect of culture. It answers the basic question about the meaning of life. Though not all cultures have a single religion, there are some that do. There are different types of religions, such as monotheism, which is believing in one God. Examples are Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. Hinduism is an example of a polytheistic religion, and atheism is the belief that there is no God. Often, a culture's values are based on a religious belief system. The form a government takes is another aspect of culture. All societies have formed governments to provide for the common need, keep order, and protect the society. However, they've taken on many different forms. In the past, monarchies or states ruled by kings were more common. Today, the majority of governments fall into democracies, republics, or dictatorships. And last is the economic system. This is the way people use limited resources to satisfy their wants and needs. There are 4 main types. Traditional, where people produce most of what they need to survive. A market economy, based on the buying and selling of goods and services. A command economy, where the government is in control of all the interests in question. Or a mixed economic system, where individuals make some decisions and governments make others. Culture is not stagnant. It doesn't stay the same. Things like technology, environmental change, and new ideas are often changing culture. Also, the diffusion or the movement of people and customs from one place to another influence the culture that they join.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty effective. So there are 7 aspects of culture that we need to consider. And when you look at what those 7 are, then you get a better picture of why we are having this conversation today. Let's start with social organization. Now, here's the challenge. The video talked about social organization, can be social groups or even the family. If we start right there, we see where that family structure, that extended family that we grew up with, even if you didn't have 2 parents in the home,
That's right.
you knew that my auntie could have put it on me just like my mummy. The neighbor could have dealt with you just like your parent. There was this extended family, the grandparents, everybody looking out, helping to raise these children. That village. Where has it gone? We have allowed it to disappear to the point where 71% of our households are led by single females. Where has the traditional family structure gone? And in cases where it's not there, where has the support system gone?
That's it. Yes.
That's a major part of our problem in terms of losing our culture. Because that was a major part of our culture.
It was a major part because we had single parents then. You know, my mother at the time was a single parent, but we had a community
support.
We had that support system, man.
Yes.
You know, my mom worked at night, but we knew that if I went outside at night and Miss Joanna saw me outside, that meant, and she tell me to go inside that house, I knew I better do that.
You better don't talk back.
You better don't talk back. You don't suck your teeth. What we call, suck your teeth. I don't even know if the young people know that, but suck your teeth. But we had this village, Michelle. The whole corner was a family.
Yes.
Huh? If you didn't have any food, when my grandmother cooked, she fed the whole corner. The whole corner could have come in Becky's spot and eat. That sense of safety, I would refer to it as that sense of safety, that sense of camaraderie, belonging. We don't have that anymore. Everyone has become so selfish and just looking after me. If we were to step back and understand that if we were to do that, we can get so much more done. I remember, listen, my grandfather, when it was time to go to Junkanoo show, he had all the little boys from through the corner. Everybody was on the back of that truck, and that was lunch money for the next day, Michelle. He took care of the whole neighborhood, but guess what? By teaching them the lessons of going out and working for what you want.
Right.
But the parents knew that Chippy got their boys. The parents knew that Chippy can take care of them. They all right. He gonna bring them back home. Nowadays, we can't even depend on our neighbors.
You can't trust some of them.
We're not even sure on them.
You ain't know if they can do something to your children. Yeah.
Before that was never the case. And if it was, I mean, very few and far between.
Yeah.
But the sense of community, the sense of being our brother's keepers is going out the door. And it goes back to just what your caller speak to. When we how do I say this? When we divert from the principles of God, then we leave space for things to move on in.
Yeah.
You know, one time ago, we once your Grammy spoke, or Grammy didn't even have to go to church, but you better go. Everybody was ready to go. She's sending you. You can't even backtalk. Now we don't even send our kids to church. Now we don't care. So we've moved away from the principle of God, and then everything else move in, and now we have this sense of selfishness. We only care about me, like someone said, "Child, I only looking out after me. I don't care about them." I said to the person, "You see, I could agree with you to a point, but when you say I tell my child to look after him and only look after me," I said, "But when I look at that on a national scale, I can't agree with you. I can't agree with you. Yes, I have to look after me." But if I was to always keep that mentality, what am I saying for that village? What am I saying for my neighbor's daughter? Because I see her out there and she's in trouble. What do I say? I just leave it alone? What do I do? When have we become so separated from our community, from our people, that we just care about what happens to us?
You know, it's so sad. I remember the case of baby Bella and the neighbors regretting not acting.
Yes.
That little child used to come and say, "Could I live with you?
Oh.
I don't want to go back over there." They used to hear her
These are the
crying,
things.
and they didn't do what they needed to do to protect that child. That's what we're talking about here. The village.
We have lost that sense of intuitiveness too, Michelle. These things we don't pay attention to. You know, that mother's wit, we call it. When a child says something, you have to investigate, even though we find out it's false. We got to take that initiative to find out, to investigate. But we don't have time to even listen to that no more. We don't even have time to focus, but we're so busy doing this, doing that, going places, doing things, that our children are speaking to us. And even me as a mother, I look back now after my first daughter, I look back and see when my second daughter is saying something, boy, I got to look into this. I got to do this. Because back in the day, Michelle, for me, I was trusting because that's how I grew up. But things have changed.
Yeah.
And like the caller said, and like the script you just played, so many things have moved in now and influenced our culture.
Yes. Yes.
But who are we? The caller said, these things have moved in, right? Influenced our culture, but we have allowed them to take over our future.
Yeah.
Because they are more? Is that how it works?
Well,
because
see,
it's more of them now, we lose ourselves? No. Who's the strongest? Who?
What we have to realize is culture travels.
That's right.
So
that's an interesting point.
Culture travels.
That's an interesting point.
So you allow your borders to be open, to realize that it ain't just bodies that are coming.
That's right. Exactly.
They are
Very
bringing
true.
their culture
Very
with
true.
them.
Yes.
I remember a case, I forget which European country it was, but some Islamic person who was a refugee and moved to that country attacked a woman from that country to tell her she's dressed like a whore. And the woman only had on regular clothes. But he come from a country where the only thing a woman could expose her was her eyes. Now, he ain't coming to the country and say, well, these people culture, so I got to learn to live here. No. He bring his culture with him.
Who's the fault, though?
And he expects now me to adjust based on what his culture, and this shows you how powerful culture is, how ingrained culture is, because he took that with him to another country and expect that country to adjust to him.
Wow.
So what are we allowing to come into our borders? The first thing people say is, oh, you are xenophobic. No, it's not about xenophobia. It's about, you have to understand that culture travels. What are you allowing to come into your space?
That's powerful, Michelle. That's powerful. That is powerful.
We have a caller on the line. Caller, welcome to GPS.
Good day, Lady Malcolm and your guest.
Hello.
Hello.
You see what you have in the front of you? That is culture. That's 110% culture, your guest.
Yes, right. Yes, she is.
You understand? And I've been listening to the show from it started, and we asked them, where did it go, how did it go, and how we could get it back. It's very simple, Let me take it from a perspective of when you send those queens to where they need to go.
Mm-hmm.
When you see, if you look at majority of the queens that have won those pageants in the last several years, what they take to that thing is them and their country. Because when a tourist come here, they ain't come to see no McDonald's or no Burger King, you know. They come to see us, even like you say, comforter and them kind of things. That's where we have lost it. We send our queens out there and we want our queens to perform like Miss America, and we want them to back their shoulders like Miss Trinidad and to walk like Miss Jamaica. No. When we send those queens, we send the Bahamas with them. We let them carry little music from here. When they got their spare time, they listen to that. See, the judges will be watching them straight through, you know. When they eat, they want chicken and fries. I want chicken and fries. I ain't want no porterhouse steak and them kind of things.
Yeah, see,
they want to see.
Ain't no queen supposed to be eating no chicken and fries, though.
But that is exactly what the tourists come here to see.
Yeah, well, let the tourists come here for that, but don't tell my queen to go eat no chicken and fries and then she go over
Yeah,
there,
chicken and fries and smother that down with some ketchup and some hot sauce.
You can be all right.
And they'll be like, okay, she's different. Look at what she's doing.
It doesn't work that way, sir. They provide them with food, and it's not chicken and fries. But anyway, but I get your point.
Yeah, that's my point, man.
All right.
We need to be ourselves. Okay.
Thank you for calling.
It's one of the young ladies in the pageant. I think she was maybe the last of the 12 that came in, and the gentleman reflected on a hashtag of assume your identity.
I don't remember which one that was.
Yeah, I don't know. She was from a country in Africa. She had a headdress.
Yeah, Côte d'Ivoire.
And she spoke to that. I don't even know where that country is.
That's Ivory Coast. They just
I got it.
Renamed it Côte d'Ivoire.
And, you know, she spoke about assuming your identity.
Mm-hmm.
And it is so true. We have to be true to who we are, even though your caller, in terms of how he was placing the context.
I understand the point he's trying to make.
We understood the point he was trying to make, because when these the tourists and the visitors come to this country, we come for a Bahamian experience.
You know what I remember based on that? Many, many years ago, I had an uncle that lived in New York. He moved to New York when he was a teenager, I believe, and just made that his home.
Mm-hmm.
But he used to come home to visit, you know, for Christmas or whatever. And he was home I think it was one Christmas celebration. He came home to visit, and they were talking about, oh, we need to go out and get some nice steaks. So my uncle was like, what are you getting steak for? So they say, we're getting a steak for you. He said, you can't make a steak better than what I could find in New York. I don't want steak.
That's right.
I want some peas and rice and potato salad and crab and dough. I want what I can't find in New York. What you give me what I can find in New York for?
Michelle, this even reminds me of, you know, as an entertainer, I used to do a lot of entertainment over to Atlantis.
Mm-hmm.
And one day I came through, and please, no one be offended by this, but I came through and they had a Spanish band playing in Bimini Road.
Oh, wow.
I was so offended by it, you know, as my usual self. I went to management in entertainment.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, is there a reason why we have a Spanish band playing in Bimini Road?
Mm.
I was told that was what the people wanted to hear. Of course, I had to go further. I said, no, that's what you choose to give them. You see, because when they come here, they came here for a Bahamian
authentic experience, of course.
And we have many Bahamian bands without a job that could give them that experience. And yet we have a Spanish band playing. I have no offense to that.
But here's the thing, though, Fontella. How they get work permit for that Spanish band?
But this is it. But it goes further, Michelle, because now we go back to those organizations now, right, who is supposed to be protecting the entertainers, right, position.
Mm-hmm.
So how did you get a work permit for the Spanish band to come in, right? Now the laws of our unions and the laws and bylaws of our unions, who is supposed to be defending or protecting our entertainers, where are they?
Mm-hmm.
You know where they are, Michelle? They're in bed with the people we're working with. So how can you fight for me if you work for the same company?
Mm.
How can you do it?
Mm-hmm.
And so here we go with now the political the foolishness, right? The politics coming into our organizations that are supposed to protect our people. See, this go deep. This go deep in different pockets. So we have these persons now unions who are supposed to defending and protecting the interests of our Bahamian entertainers is non-existent, but yet they're paying dues to these unions, but yet they cannot get a job. They cannot, if they're hurt on their jobs or anything, there are no benefits.
Wow.
We need to look at these organizations who we have that they say represent us. And for me, I'm really passionate about that, because I believe that I would not call the union name, and I will not do that. But I want people to understand, especially entertainers, that these unions that we have collecting our dues and that are not looking out for the interests of Bahamian entertainers, we need to stand up and say something. Refuse for them to represent you, which we did. We told Atlantis, listen, we don't want any fees coming out of our pay because this union do not represent it.
Right.
But guess what? They said they were the legal body that represent the entertainers, and therefore we have no grounds. But again, we sit back as entertainers, we're disgruntled, and we find this is in our culture, Michelle. This is in our culture. We are disgruntled in our representation. We know that we're not getting fair representation, or we know from our leaders, from wherever it is, in our churches, our organizations, government offices, we're not getting the right representation. We make noise behind the scene, and we refuse to stand up to make sure that it's changed on our benefit.
Right.
And as a culture, that has to change, or else we will be here 10 years later saying the same thing. This is the culture that we have to shift, whether it's in our unions, whether it's in our organizations. I just spoke to two ladies, not to digress, but I spoke to two ladies who work in government offices, been in positions for years, could literally run the place with their eyes closed, never promoted. Governments come in and out, and they're training people on their positions, and others are being promoted over them. They're training the people that they're sending away. And yet we refuse to do it. Why? Because we're not politically connected. Our parties, our leaders do not see the vision of this country. We don't pass this table. We don't know that we have to have the best in these positions to move us at another level. It doesn't matter what you know, but who you know. So we foster, again, a culture of disrespect, a culture of mediocrity, a culture of nothingness, because you don't have to know nothing to get that position. You just got to know the person. And so now the culture within the organization is disgruntlement. All right? We're upset, we're mad, because we know that we are the person for the job. We know. But because we're in this one and we're in that one, now the progress of our country as to where we need to go in these upcoming years, and where we need to be competitive on the international world stage, is held back because of our political foolishness. It's crazy. And this culture has to change. And again, it goes back. We got to acknowledge it, people, and we got to be willing to stand.
That's a heavy note to take a break on. Wow. Yeah. So before we go to this break, let me just give a shout out to Dr. Barry Russell and his team at the Bahamas Orthodontic Center for being the experts and professionals that they are. Beautiful smiles that last a lifetime is the slogan, and he is right. They do some pretty good work there. If you know anybody who is in need of improving their smile, you might want to go check them out, and let Barry know that you heard about his services on GPS. I'm sure he'd appreciate that. We'll be right back after these words from our sponsors. Stay with us.
The islands of the Bahamas. Fly away.
Every journey starts with the first step, and mine starts here. I believed in Tokyo, the belief that I could be, we could be the best. We are drenched in Bahamian pride, no matter where we go. In 5 years, Alive built the Bahamas' best network, delivering faster speeds and stronger connections to all 700 islands and keys. I am proud to be Director of Speed and Connection. Never stop dreaming and never stop believing.
Welcome to Sunshine Auto, the hardest place on the planet for rims, tints, and tires.
We are your auto superstore for rims, Lexani, Azaras, Trueform, Western, Lux, Fuel, Track Life, Tough, Rough Racing, Velocity, Mud, All-Terrain, and low-profile tires, cars, homes, and commercial window tinting. At Sunshine Auto, we put God first and customer is king.
Blessed love.
Welcome to Chippy's Cultural Experience. Coming soon, Chippy's Cultural Entertainment, building on a Bahamian legacy. Welcome to Boston Square. Come experience our islands. Come experience our history. Come and experience our culture. Experience what it is to be truly Bahamian. You're invited. Yeah, man.
Want to congratulate Miss Poland, who was the winner of the Miss World pageant last night. And I have to tell you, she was one of the contenders. So I don't have, any issue with her being the winner because she was one of the heavy favorites as well. I think the shock for everybody was how many heavy favorites did not make that top 12. That's what shocked everybody more so than who won, because nobody is quibbling over the winner. She was one of the favorites to win from day one. But how many other favorites did not advance to the top 12? That's what have everybody in shock today. Like, how many people like, what? Yeah, okay. Anyway, I so sorry I forget to take that commercial out, y'all. Every time I see that, I get vexed. But anyhow, let me stay focused. Okay, so I'm talking about Chipman Rolle about culture. Is Bahamian culture on life support? And if so, what do we need to do to revive that thing? Telephone numbers to call 326-0271, 326-0271 or 326-0272. And our WhatsApp line, 824-9952. We have a caller on the line. Caller, welcome to GPS. You need to turn your radio down, please.
Yeah, I'm trying to do it right now. It's my TV. But...
Oh, the TV, okay.
Okay. Yeah. It's down.
No, I can still hear it.
Can you still?
Okay, go ahead now.
Okay. You're my favorite female talk show host.
Thank you very much.
You and Steve, I can't promote anybody. And
yeah, don't call nobody. Don't call no other talk show, no other radio station or this.
And the lady of the Chipman, she was my favorite activist also.
Thank you.
I am the last living musician. You believe that?
Really?
And what is your name?
My name is Stephen Goldberg. I wrote one song called I'm the Barber, the Shave and Haircut, like 1 million years ago.
Wow.
Yeah. Wow. And a bunch of songs. And me and the Chipmans were very close. Wow. We lived on South Street. Dave Chipman, they called him Bambino. Yes, he would hang out. He used to be a South Street boy at the time. He'd come up to see his cousin, Gary Hanna, and Berkeley Turnquest and all those guys.
Mm-hmm.
Do those names ring a bell, but I'll get to my point real quick.
Yes,
Mr. Chipman?
yes, they do. Yes, they
The
do.
your uncles and stuff, I guess. Well, anyway, like I said, I'm a musician, and I had to leave Freeport after 40 years. And I came to Nassau in 2013. There were only two places to be employed over here. That's no at the time. Well, we thought the Bahama would open in time, but this was 2013. And well, my story is, after being, very comfortable in Freeport, but I had to leave because of the hurricane. That shut down everything as far as I'm concerned. But when I came over here, I went to the union, of course, and my good friend at the time, he went to schoolmates, his name was Percy Sweeting, rest in peace, of course. And I noticed that the union over here was almost like a political party. You can join it or not. You can, whatever. It was like a little agency, more or less. So I couldn't get a meeting with, let's say, the food and beverage manager or the entertainment's place. You just can't do that. You have to go through some guy named Snooky, Falcon, Fred Munnings. These are their jobs. Back in my day in Freeport, you sit down in the front of the piano and play and sing. Somebody like you got a job. But now we have to go through these weird things. Now, that's my first thing. Well, by the way, if you want to hear me play, I'm playing tonight at JWB Lounge. Tonight and the weekend.
Okay.
Well, once again, no publicity for these things. But
Yeah,
I'm working because somehow somebody from Freeport made a call. I got a job. Thank God. And that's it for that. Now, tell me your point of view on this one. Tourism, which is our main industry, right? Should be packed with all kind of exciting activities, definitely music and everything that comes along with it. Do you agree with me that there should be somebody in tourism who actually is a musician?
Somebody in tourism who is actually a musician?
Who likes to party and show people a good time? You're going to pick a guy, a businessman to head tourism?
Well, I mean, here's the thing. If you surround yourself with the people who understand the industry, you don't have to come from the industry. You just be smart enough to surround surround yourself with people who are.
Totally agree. Totally agree. But like Miss Chipman over there, she has this, I heard the commercial just now. She is into hands-on with these people. Well, I don't care who the minister is, because you got to be a businessman to run any operation of the. People got to get paid, checks and balances have to be made and everything. But somebody could look and say, no, don't do that. The things I saw in the Bahamas going on since I've been here, Perry Christie and this carnival and all that kind of stuff. I'm saying, where's the union? Direct this man better.
The thing is, but in that particular instance, a lot of people spoke out against that.
Yes.
But he was just determined that was going to be a part of his legacy.
Yeah. But anyway, I really believe, because one time ago when things were going good down here, Miss Chipman may tell you, Duke Hanna was the president of the union, and he was also a senator. And things were going good for musicians. He would speak up for us. That's when the union used to be the union. I hope this guy, Ronnie and Bristol, hears this. But anyway, it's a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you.
Likewise. Thank you so much for calling. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Like Michelle said, you don't have to know about the business. Yes, it's ideal that the person who's running the organization or who's at the top has experience or was an entertainer or a musician. But if you surround yourself and then you include the ideas and the input that these people who have been in the industry, if you surround yourself with these people and you're open to accepting their contributions, then we can still go far. See, all of us bring something to the table. Every one of us. That person at the helm, he probably have that administrative, that directive. He could get it done. Now, someone around him in that circle who could guide him. See, because we're at this the table together. Each man bringing what it is that God has given them, their contribution. That's where we have lost it, and that's where the union that you speak about today is just it's non-existent, because it's an exclusive club that does not allow for younger entertainers their input as to where we're going and their wisdom from whence they came to come together so that we can lift this to another level. That's what is stagnating the union right now. That's why the entertainers do not feel a part of it. That's why we at this spot that the union cannot grow. There are no members. There are no members. There are no new members because they would not allow it in. We cannot say we want our place to be this when there are entertainers all over the place. Everyone should be able to come and join the union once they are an entertainer. They have a contribution. They have something to offer. You also spoke about how everyone is operating as an agency. Now, for me, that can happen. I don't subscribe to that. Me, as a person who have booked entertainment for the hotels, for private shows, I don't do that. I know the lifestyle of an entertainer in this country. It's temporary. One, you could make, Michelle, you could be working for 3 months and you go the rest of the year without a job.
Wow.
You cannot feed your family. So when we operated on this agency basis, now you're only working for Michelle. Now, if Michelle doesn't get a gig, and if Fontella steps up and say, girl, I need you to do that fire dance or that limbo, you say, I can't work for you. I only work for Michelle. I don't hold my entertainers to that. It can't. The market cannot sustain it. They got to eat.
Right.
So what I find myself, Michelle, doing, I said, what time is your show with Michelle? 7 o'clock. Oh, say up. Then I said, well, I put you on at 8 o'clock. You just try to make it over here because we got to make this money while we can.
Right.
So there have been persons who have tried to do that. But me, myself, I don't subscribe to that because entertainers have to eat. They're literally running from here to there to make that money while they can, because there will be a time that we won't see no action for literally 6 months. Well, that's why you have entertainers, sorry, Michelle, that have 2 jobs.
Well, so clearly we did it before, and I don't understand for the life of me why we can't do it again. Like, for instance, with the hotels saying that you have to hire so many, a quota of Bahamian entertainment. When the ships come into port, it used to be a time when they had to close all of their entertainment on the ship. They had to close the casino. They had to close all of the stores.
That's still going on.
Well, I don't know, because I don't think so. I know I'm pretty sure it's not. And I could be wrong. And if I'm wrong, I stand corrected. But the point was, once you came into port in the Bahamas, all of that on your ship is shut down. And if they want to enjoy that, they have to come off the ship into the community to do that. We've heard complaints about how Bay Street is dead and there's nothing for people to do. It wasn't always that way. And if we would only get back to the place where we make them shut that stuff down, encourage persons to open night spots on Bay Street that people can visit, have enough police presence there so you don't have to worry about people's safety. So even if they just are on the Bay Street strip for the evening, they could go right back to the ship. You make sure you have a lot of police presence there. This could be something that could make the main attraction downtown much more appealing.
That's right.
You know what I mean?
Michelle, this is twofold, okay? And I always come back to this question, and this is straight across the board, political, everything. Who is negotiating for the Bahamian people? Who is negotiating on our behalf? Why aren't our leaders? Are we compromising ourselves so much at the expense of our people? You say you want to bring your ship here, and so the ship says, well, we're not coming there unless. Who is negotiating on our behalf and saying, okay, if you want to come here and you want to come in our waters, this is what
These
Well,
are our
have to be.
terms.
These
And
are our
we keep
terms.
selling ourselves short because
We
here's the deal.
keep doing
Here's the
it.
deal. They got to come through us to go to the rest. So if you don't want to play by our rules, go around us then.
Go round.
Ain't gonna happen. We have a call on the line. Caller, welcome to GPS.
Hey, good afternoon, Michelle. How you doing?
Excellent. How are you?
I'm great. I like the show. It's been very interesting.
Thank you.
What I'm calling on is the cruise ship do not close the casino and do not close the shop, and they still have live band on port.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, under the act and the rules, the Bahamas, they were supposed to close casino.
That's how it used to be. That's how it used to be.
5 miles off the shore.
Yeah.
Okay.
But after Carnival decide if they cannot open up the shop, you would even give them permission to open the shop and casino.
See, we negotiate from a place of weakness because, you know, you could say, oh, Michelle, I don't know what you have turned up. You need to turn it down, sir. You could say, oh, we need that business. But what they can do, if they want to get to the country south of us, they got to go through us.
Exactly.
So either that,
and the thing
or
about
go
it,
around. And ain't nobody gonna go around because the time, the fuel, the money, they gotta come through us.
Yeah, you realize they're telling the people on the cruise ship do not bring no cash off the cruise ship.
That goes to my.
I heard it announced because I have the glass bottom boat.
Okay.
I deal with the tourists. They don't bring no money except credit cards. Okay, and I don't hear no Bahamian band plays on no cruise ship. And I work my boat 7 days a week. So what's going on with this?
So we can't control that, the cruise ship, but we can control the hotels. We can control the cruise ship telling them you cannot have that entertainment live while you are in port. We can do that. We can't tell them to hire Bahamians, but we could make sure that it is set up so that when they import, they gotta encourage their people to come off the ship to go enjoy the local culture.
Look at this. They're selling the same rum on the cruise ship that's selling in 700, and they're selling for $2 less.
Right.
Okay, and liquor stores are open in port, which is supposed to be closed.
Right.
You follow me?
Yes. See, this is what I'm sorry, caller. So this is Michelle, this is what I said. This is twofold, right? So who's negotiating for us? Do you blame the cruise ships?
No.
They're going to negotiate, honey, to make sure that dollar stays on that ship.
Don't get what you deserve. You get what you negotiate.
That's right. So they're fighting to keep every dollar. So what do we do now? Let me tell you, this is deep. We promote the crime in the country, right? They sell that. They're scared to come off. They don't bring any money. I remember going out by the cruise ship. The lady said, oh, she was telling a friend, don't buy the water. They said not to buy the water.
Oh my God.
The lady was selling the water. Say, water? Say, ma'am, here, this is only $1.
That's what they're telling them also. So they can't bring water on the ship now. They can't bring soda on the ship.
So
and they can't bring no souvenirs of the strong market on the ship now.
Are you serious?
So,
it's crazy.
Yeah.
So my caller, who is
they're not allowing on the ship. Some of the straw work they're not allowing on the ship.
Wow. So how do we as Bahamians, who do we hold responsible? Who's sitting at that table to negotiate with the cruise ship to speak against all these things?
That's easy.
There's no leadership there that is negotiating on behalf of the Bahamian people.
The government, okay, all the carnival ships are registered in Nassau, right? All of them. The company, because they just celebrate 50 years of anniversary.
Big
celebration. Right in front of my boat.
Yep.
Okay? Now, if all of those cruise ships are registered in Nassau, they can't go no place else. So penalize the cruise ship that they should be closed 5 miles offshore, which is the law.
But I just want to say that. But so you said that is the law.
That's the law. That was some solemn.
So you know what we do?
5 miles offshore, all ships, shop, and casinos once they're in port. So why is that not being enforced?
That's right. Well, we settle for
Something
we settle
changed.
for a rush
Something
out.
changed. Something changed.
We settle for a little rush out caller, a little rush out, and we good to go for that. Something has drastically
So that
changed.
man, you're telling me, as a Bahamian, as myself, we are too dumb to figure it out that we are not making nothing. 3 days now, in my glass bottom boat, I only made $100. I have to pay my mate $30. That's $70. And you had 5 cruise ships in today. You had 4 in yesterday. You had 5 in the day before. Where the people doing?
But here's the thing: if we're celebrating the numbers. Oh, we have all of these mega cruise ships, and all they bring in all these people. But if you go, if you have those kinds of stipulations, we're still not benefiting as much as we should be benefiting from all these people coming through.
You realize if I was working for somebody and that person see all those cruise ships out there, and I don't bring home no money for him, I'm fired.
Yeah, they wonder what you're doing.
Cruise ship and you don't make no money.
Yeah,
that's all you make. Man, you're fired.
Usually, I don't. I try to pull away from this narrative that the government is at fault. The government is at fault. But in this case, I have to say it's our leaders who are not negotiating on behalf of the Bahamian people. We have compromised ourselves to the point that our Bahamian people are paying the price. Bottom line, the leadership of the country is fully responsible for that.
Well, that was one of the 7 aspects of culture.
That's right.
Sir, you have something turned up, sir, that's causing a lot of feedback on our end. I don't know what it is, but you got to turn it down.
Excuse me?
Do you have a radio or something turned up?
No, I'm on the patio porch, and I don't have no equipment out here.
I'm not sure what that is then. Oh, but go ahead.
Okay, what I'm saying is, yes, Bahamian entertainers are great, but how long do they last in a group? You realize how much groups I can call names of groups that was together, which was number one, and somehow they just keep on breaking up.
Well, maybe a part of that is you needing work. It's hard to stay together when you don't have the work.
When the Bahamian hold a concert, they hold it for so much money. You're a Bahamian. You can't charge the Bahamian $50 entrance. At least I'd do one like 20, 15.
But how much Bahamians paying to see the Jamaicans come in?
Okay, another thing.
No. Answer that question. How much are Bahamians paying to see the Jamaicans come in?
Well, they're paying too much. Okay, they're paying too much. But here it is now. I know KB. I ain't gonna pay $100 to see him, and I can see him tomorrow on the road.
Yeah, but you see, that's the problem right there. Because if you could pay the Jamaican $100 to come in here and do dirty wine, and I know I did myself with the dirty wine, right?
You're paying for one night stand. KB is every day stand.
That doesn't matter. You ain't paying him for how often you see him. You're paying him for his talent. And see, that is a part of the problem that we have. This whole culture, this whole attitude. Well, if you local, then you don't deserve as much. No, we got to change that.
Hey, Michelle, let me stick that for a second, because I ain't got much more time. I heard that people are saying that they're making a law against raping your wife. Correct?
Marital rape. They're talking about it.
Marital rape.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah.
I heard that they're trying to pass a law now for legal prostitution. Correct?
I haven't heard that.
Yes. Okay. The lady Dane, I think she is a part of it. And they're trying to pass this law where women can sell their bodies and et cetera. But now, I said all of that to say this. You have a law on marital rape. If your wife don't want to make love to you, they should put a law out there where you can go out there, buy it, without
Okay.
police harassing
What does
you and you
what
come
what
back
what
home
what
and
does
you can
that
be satisfied
what
and
does
you
this
can
have
be
to
satisfied.
do with culture? What does this have to do with what we are talking about today? I only got 3 minutes left in my
bring it
show.
home.
I may talk about that. All right. That's another show. You have a good day. Hi, come on, this man, please.
Yeah,
We got 3 minutes. 3 minutes left in this show.
That's another show.
Lord Jesus, have mercy. Anyhow, Fontella, you got a minute, my love. Go ahead and give us your final thoughts on this, because we didn't even get to cover some of these aspects: the economic system, the government, the religious values, art and literature. We didn't even get to cover those. But let's hear your final thoughts on this whole subject about how do we revive. They may have called too late. Let me hear from you. How do you revive our dying culture?
Well, Michelle, here we go again, right? We ask ourselves this question every time, and every aspect of our culture, of our being as a Bahamian. What do we do in order to get ourselves back there? Michelle, all I could say is we have lost, right? We have lost a lot of time. We have lost a whole generation, I believe. But in that, we know that we cannot give up, right? We have to fight for our survival. Our mere existence as Bahamians mean we cannot just lay down and allow to be taken over. And with that, I want Bahamians to understand that there is something special about this country. My grandfather and grandmother always said it. My grandfather, he went to his grave saying it. It's something special about us. When we could tap into who we are as Bahamians, go back to whence we came from. I know the younger people don't know. It's our duty to tell and show them, show the story, tell the history. Go back into the schools, talk to your children, let your children talk to your grandparents. We don't do that no more, Michelle. When do our young children sit down with our grandparents and talk and listen to their stories? They don't do that. We don't have the time.
We out of time. Speaking of which, I gotta wrap this up. Thank you so much for being here today, my love. We just got so much work to do. Got so much work to do. But anyway, time is gone. So thank you, Fontella, Rolle, for being here, and your aunt Mitzie, who had to leave a little early. I'm Michelle Malcolm. It's been a pleasure as always. Thank you so much, guys, for tuning in. Stay tuned. We have more great programming right here on Global 99.5 FM. I'm Michelle Malcolm. As I said, have a good afternoon, everybody.
Global 99.5 FM reminds our listeners that the views and opinions expressed on this show are those of the host and guests and not necessarily the opinions of the owners of Global Communications Network and the operators of this radio station.
This is 99.5 Global FM, your number one source for R&B.